dragons, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Joana and I love to talk about books on this channel, specifically fantasy books. Today I have my March TBR that I want to share with you. Now, in February I've read a lot of big books, which you will see here very soon on the channel, but I still have some big books that I need to read this month, but I do need to squeeze in some short books because I am starting to feel the whole, not burnout, but the whole like, oh my goodness, all these fantasy books are so long, why are they so long? Recently I've been picking up some books that are not that long in fantasy, and that has been amazing. So I need either some of that or some that are gonna go faster, and just like, you know, I need to intersperse different things here and there. So I'm gonna start by talking about my commitments. I'm gonna talk about my maybes and hopefuls and all of that stuff. And then I have two readathons that I'm hoping to participate in. One is the Greek godathon or Greek god readathon, hosted by Esme and a bunch of other people. I will leave her announcement video in the description of this video, and I am participating in Team Poseidon, so in Team Chaos. And then there's also the magical readathon that I want to participate in, which I will also share what I'm going to be reading for that. So without further ado, let's talk about my commitments and carryovers, and then we will go with my potentials and all that, my hopefuls, and then I will slot in the readathons at the end to tell you which books will fit what prompt. First things first, I have a carryover. So today is the last day of February, and I started this book yesterday. I've read 100 pages roughly, and I'm gonna read some more today. I just know I won't finish it today, but I will be finishing it here very early in the month of March, like day 1 or day 2, and that is The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is one of those shorter fantasy books that is absolutely wowing me at the moment. This is a 5-star prediction. I am vlogging this one. Basically, we follow an empire made up of different islands, and the emperor has ruled for a long time. He has this bone shard magic where people give pieces of their bone, like from back here, and then these bones are used to power constructs. I am not far enough into it to know everything how it works, but all I know is that we have multiple POVs. One of the POVs is the emperor's daughter, and she's lost her memories, but she is the heir, but someone else is like, it's her or her foster brother who are like up to being heirs to the empire, and because she doesn't have her memories, this is kind of in jeopardy. So she's trying to figure out the secrets. We have a man who's looking for his wife that ends up being a hero even though he's a smuggler. That's all I know for now, and I'm loving this, and this one is one of the first books I'm going to finish, and I am just having a wonderful time. Next up is another book that I'm using for the same vlog, and that is Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. All I know about this one is it's a Mozart and his sister kind of like reimagining in a magical realism way. A short book that I will be putting in the same vlog as the Andrea Stewart book, and then you will see this vlog very soon on the channel, so I won't talk about it much here. So after my carryovers and like that little commitment of Kingdom of Back, I want to talk about more commitment books that I have. The first one is The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. This is a buddy read with Abby, Sam, and Monae, and we've been talking about reading this for like a year now, thanks to Jimmy, and we decided that March is going to be the month in which we read this first installment in Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. This is a series that I first heard of over at Grey Area. She's like a Song of Ice and Fire content creator, and she was always saying in her videos, guys, go read Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, go read Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, and I always kept that in the back of my mind. And then last year when we had a discussion on The Forgetting Moon by Brian Lee Durfee, Jimmy was always saying, guys, you need to read Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, and I was like, okay, fine. And Abby was also super excited, and so we put together this little band of buddy readers to read this series. I know almost nothing about this. All I know is that it's like an epic fantasy that inspired George R. R. Martin. That's all I know. And I don't really want to know more. Actually, I really don't like knowing much about my books going in the first place, so I leave every book I mention in description of all my videos because I don't like knowing much about them. But this is the first commitment. It's huge. The audiobook is like 33 something hours, but apparently the audiobook is really well done. That's what I've heard from Jimmy. So I got the audiobook, I have the ebook ready to roll, and this is my first commitment of the month. It's not the first one I'm going to read because I'm going to read this one after I'm back from my holiday, because I go 1 week to Portugal like on this Saturday. So today I'm filming is Monday, so on Saturday I'm going for a week, so I won't be reading that one there, but when I get back, this is one of the first books I'm going to read. My next commitment book is a book I should have read in the last month, and this one is like a maybe even book 3, but my definite commitment is Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor. This was the February pick for Vicious Discord, or channel buddy read rather, and we read Daughter Smoke and Bone in January, Days of Blood and Starlight February, and Dreams of Gods and Monsters in March. So maybe I'll also read Dreams of Gods and Monsters, but it depends on when the live show for Dreams of Gods and Monsters is, because this live show is right after I get back from Portugal, so we have like it's like early March, middle March that we're reading it, so I wanted to read this as close as possible to the live show, which also for Dreams of Gods and Monsters. So that's why I don't know if that one will be read this month probably very early April. But Days of Blood and Starlight is a sequel to Daughter of Smoke and Bone. So this is the second book in the trilogy. I have read this one before, but like 8 years or something ago. I have vivid memories of reading this book. I actually have a video here on the channel, which I will try and link up here if you are interested, where I talked about you guys giving me random coordinates, and then it landed some on my shelves, and I talked about the books that whatever that coordinate was. And I've had talked about this one and how I read it back when I was first getting into fantasy. It was this and Sarah J Maas, and so I actually have really fond memories of reading this at my friend's house in Wyoming, and like until the sun came up, I saw the sun come up and I threw the book across the room because I needed to sleep. But yes, I remember reading this, but I don't remember much about the content, and I'm very excited to be rereading this to finally finish out the series, because it's been like 8 years or something like that and I still hadn't done that. So I'm excited. This is the second book. I remember this one being a lot more high fantasy than the first one, and I'm very much excited to read this in the month of March. Next up, I have another big boy here as a commitment, another almost 900-page book, and that is Master Artificer by Justin T. Call. I was supposed to have read this with Jolien in the month of February, but we both decided let's read it in March, and that's fine by me. Here, this book's just so pretty. This is the sequel to Master of Sorrows, which I have a full review on here on the channel, so I won't talk too much about it. If you want to check it out, it's right here. It's basically the chosen one who becomes the villain of the story, so it's a villain origin story, and we live in a pretty brutal world where this academy where our main character is studying at kind of despises magic and despises people with physical ailments, and he has an ailment he's hiding, and he is hiding that he can do magic. So quite interesting. I absolutely love the first one. It completely took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, and I've heard from my friend Sam that this one is even darker than the first one, and I am very much excited for even darker. So this one is going to be a buddy read with Jolien, and also Stephanie is reading it, so we're kind of all reading it together. Sam's already read it though, but us other three are reading it together, and then we have a little surprise coming your way. Hopefully somewhere in April. That's all I'm gonna say. And my last commitment is actually like 3 books, but basically a book, a short story, and a novella, and that is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. This was the February book club pick for Cosmere Unbounded, which is a read along I host. I leave the announcement up here if you want to check it out. This and Bands of Mourning are the only Cosmere novels I haven't read yet, so I'm gonna read this because we're gonna have the live show over on Sam at Griff Reads, not the same Sam as I've been talking about now. I'll leave everyone in the description of this video as well. But we're gonna be talking about this on her channel somewhere in the end of March or April, I don't know when, but we're going to be talking about this. And the other books are The Hope of Elantris and The Emperor's Soul. Those are kind of like a combination of these, and we'll be talking about this and The Hope of Elantris on her channel, and The Emperor's Soul on Stephanie's channel. So I need to read this and the other books, and maybe I'll do a vlog where I read everything that's like set in the world of Elantris. I don't know yet, but I'm very excited to get to this. Sophia loves this. She thinks I will absolutely love this. I've heard very mixed reviews on Elantris specifically, but it's Brandon Sanderson. I fully trust him. He's my favorite author, so I can't wait to get to this one. So those are my like strong locked in commitments. I have 2 books that I would absolutely love to get to. The first one is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is Andy over at Read by Andy's Discord buddy read for the month of March. I've loved The Faithful and the Fallen. I have yet to continue with Of Blood and Bone, that trilogy, and I haven't read The Shadow of the Gods. And I want to read this because this is on my 22 to read in 22. It's in my 12 books by 12 friends, recommended by Abby, and it's Andy's Discord buddy read, and the sequel is coming out in April, so I would absolutely love to squeeze in John Gwynne. I love his books. They always fly by, so I can't actually wait to get. I really want to make this a priority in the month of March. I hope I can get to it because some of these others are really chunky books, but I don't know. I'm hoping I can get to it maybe towards the end of March or very beginning of April. If I don't get to it, I don't know yet, but I hope so. And the next book that I would like to get to, but also I don't know because Sophia's kind of held me hostage, which is my buddy read with Sophia of Shape of Destiny. She says she won't read this with me until I read Elantris. Fair enough. I know this is only fair. This is the next book that we're reading in the realm of the Elderlings, which is the conclusion to the Life Ship Traders. We read Matchship last month and loved it, so this will be the next installment. It is though very big, so maybe I won't get to this in March, maybe in April, I don't know. Because this is huge. I have other huge books on this TBR. I don't know. This really is really up in the air. I have no idea, but I would like to, I'm gonna put it out here, just you never know. This is a possibility. Another book that is a possibility, I know I said 2, but I have a few things that like, these are like, if all hopes and dreams would come true, I would read this as well. And that would be The Liar's Knot by M.A. Carrick. This is the sequel to The Mask of Mirrors, one of my new favorite books of all time. I will be buddy reading this one with Elle over at Elle Books. The problem is the audiobook's only coming out on March 22nd. I've pre-ordered the audiobook. I told her, like, Elle, would you be okay waiting towards the end of March, even beginning of April? And she said, yes, no problem. She said, maybe even April if that works for you. And I said, yes, that really works for me to wait for April, because you've seen my TBR, or the things I would like to get to at least. It's quite a lot, but this one is like, if the audiobook comes in and Elle and I are like, come on, let's just do it, then we're gonna do this in March. If not, you know, this is coming in April. I'm so excited. I love the first one so much. And my friend Sarah has been yelling at me. Literally yesterday, she yelled at me, Joana, you're gonna love it. This is even better than the first one. I'm like, how's it even better? How's it even better? The first one's one of my favorite books of all time now. I know. Mask of Mirrors, Liar's Knot. Yes, if you haven't read it, please go do yourself a favor. Read the first book. So that's like what I would like to get to. Hopes and dreams, all of that, you know. Maybe I will try and squeeze in some romance, because I've been feeling like romance. If I squeeze in a romance, I've been feeling to like reading It Happened One Summer. That's one by Tessa Bailey. I've been feeling like that. Or even squeeze in a thriller or the other, just as palette cleansers, because I don't know how it's gonna go with all this fantasy. Maybe I'll need just like a few quick books in between, which that really worked for me in January. I didn't do it at all in February, and I'm starting to feel that like, oof, coming in. Whereas in January I read some huge books, but because I put some romance and some mystery thrillers in there, it actually broke up the heaviness of the fantasy. So maybe I'll do that in March as well. We'll see what works. But this is my TBR. With thrillers and romances, it really depends on what I feel at the moment, but those are possibilities. So about the readathons I'm participating in. For Magical Readathon, I don't know what I'm going to read yet. I am on the team of the people that have like the animal companion. So basically they said read a book with an animal companion. I think that... the problem is, it says read something that has an animal companion close to what you want. And of course I would like a dragon, but I think G said that you can only have like a smallish animal companion. I don't know yet. I will see. I'll see, because I think Memory Thorn has wolves. I don't know, but Memory Thorn has a sword on the cover, which is the conduit that I want. I want my conduit to be a sword, I think. So I don't know yet. With the Magical Readathon, I'll figure out what I'm going to be reading. But the readathon that I'm participating in a little bit more seriously is the Greek God Readathon. Like I said, I will leave the announcement video down below. I will also leave my team captain, who is Ashley of Fiction and Fantasy. She's captain of Team Poseidon. I will leave her video announcement down below, or at least her channel, and I will tell you the prompts for my team. And there's in total 14 prompts. You have to complete the 7 prompts from your team, and you can double up. I will though go through all the prompts just in case. So for my team, Team Poseidon, which is Team Chaos, we have the prompts are Poseidon, the first one, Endless Ocean, read a book with water elements. For this one, if I get to Ship of Destiny, I will use that. If not, I can use It Happened One Summer as my romance, because that one is set at like a fishing town, so it would count. Then we would have Aphrodite, True Love, read a romance, It Happened One Summer. So I think I'm going to be reading It Happened One Summer in March. Then we have Aries, War on Words. War on Words, really hard to say. Read a book with war. For this I'm going to read Days of Blood and Starlight, because there's war in there and it's on my TBR already, so here we go. Next up we have Artemis the Hunt, read a highly anticipated book. For this I'm going to be reading The Dragon Monterre. I've been really looking forward to reading this one for such a long time now that I'm so excited to get to it. Then we have Hades, Dead as a Doornail, read a book with the undead. For this one I used my ability as Team Poseidon. We can swap out 3 prompts if we want to, and I didn't feel like reading anything with the undead, so what I did is that I swapped it with Athena's prompt, which is use your head, read a book you intend to read in 2022. And I have a video here on the channel where I have my 2022 books to read in 2022. I will leave it linked up here if you want to, or in the description. I don't know how many cards I still have, and actually a lot of books that I'm reading this month are on that list. It Happened One Summer is on that list. The Bone Shard is on that list. The Shadow of the Gods is on that list. Elantris is on that list. A lot of books that I'm in my March TBR are on that list, so any of those will count. Since I've already doubled up It Happened One Summer, I'm probably going to use maybe The Shadow of the Gods or The Dragon Monterre. I could use The Dragon Monterre, it's on that list. So that's probably going to be my pick for this one. Then we had Hephaestus, Forge Ahead, read a sequel. For this one I'm also going to use Days of Blood and Starlight. I haven't doubled up with this one yet, it's a sequel. I'm excited to get to it. Finally, we have Zeus, Lightning Quick, read a cover by book. I actually switched this one with the Hermes prompt, which is The Flying Messenger, read a short book. And for this, I'm going to pick either The Hope of Elantris or The Emperor's Soul. Both of these are short books or short stories, and it counts. The other prompts in the readathon are for Team Control. These give us less points, but I will tell you if any of these books will fit it, I will probably use it. We have Apollo, Let the Sunshine, read a book that makes you happy. honestly, right now, The Bone Shard Daughter is really making me happy. I don't know if we're allowed to use books that are carryovers. We'll see if any of these books make me happy. Then we have Athena. Like I said, I've already used that one. Demeter, Bountiful Harvest, a book with nature on the cover. I don't know if any of these have nature on the cover, so I don't think... Oh, the Kingdom of Back has a huge tree, so that one would count. Then we have Dionysus, Sinful Ecstasy, Read a Guilty Pleasure. I mean, if I end up squeezing in another romance or a thriller, those are somehow guilty pleasures for me. Then we would have Hera, I Am Woman, strong female protagonist. I don't really know the characters that I'm going to be reading from, but if one fits, I can use it for that. Then we have the Hermes, which I already used, and Hestia, a heartwarming book. That one will depend, again, if I squeeze in another romance or not. But those are some of the prompts. I'm not aiming to read Team Control's prompts. I'm definitely aiming to read Team Chaos. If I can already read Team Chaos, I'm already going to be a happy camper, because that's a lot of books. So that is my March TBR. There's a lot of books on here. There's a lot of big books. Again, none of these are, like, except for the first 3 that I mentioned, or first 4, I don't remember. Those are kind of like set in stone, but all the others are, we'll see what happens, you know, just go with the flow. But those are the books I'm planning to read in the month of March. Let me know in the comments down below what you're planning on reading, and if you're planning on reading any of these, and or if you want to buddy read any of these. I honestly don't know how it's gonna go, because like I said, we're gonna go away for a week, and that can either mean that I'm gonna read a lot or not at all, because we're going with my sister-in-law, and we're going to Portugal, and we're going to be hiking, discovering, doing tons of things. So it sounds more like there's not going to be a lot of reading happening. But if there is, good for me. If there isn't, yeah, then we will see, I guess. But that is going to be it for me today. Let me know in the comments down below, like I said, what you're planning on reading, and if you've read any of these. If you just want to let me know that you were here, leave a dragon emoji. And until next time, happy reading. Bye, guys.